The first item on our agenda is Senate Bill 282, 708, and 709, introduced by Senator Santana. Here today to speak on the bills are Dr. Raphael Johnson, Legislative Director for Senator Santana, and Danny Harani, a citizen who has been impacted by these bills. Please come forward. The floor is yours.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Raphael Johnson. I serve as a legislative director in the office of Senator Santana. And on behalf of the senator, we want to thank you, Madam Chair, and this August committee for lending us your ear and also giving us an opportunity to speak on behalf of Senate Bill 282. To my right is Mr. Danny Harani, who will speak momentarily about his lived experience, which relates to the very issue that this bill seeks to remedy. I will provide some background content that explains the reason for this bill, and Mr. Harani will speak thereafter. Each year, the state of Michigan, through its Department of Correction, releases about 6,000 prisoners on parole. Approximately another 350 prisoners are discharged for having completed the maximum portion of their sentences. We simply refer to them as having maxed out and no longer under the supervision of the Department of Corrections. Having worked with this population for over 32 years, which includes longitudinal study and published academic research, I found that the aggregated data demonstrates that the majority of these returning and or justice-involved citizens have the intent of wanting to do the right thing. One of the main variables of doing the right thing is legitimizing themselves within the bands of a fast and free-moving society. This legitimization process may include the acquisition of a state ID, a driver's license, a birth certificate, a social security card, or vehicle registration and insurance, all being minimum factors of preclusion to parole violation and or rearrest. Currently, the underwriting rules of automobile insurers, as outlined in the insurance code, stipulates that an applicant must have maintained insurance coverage, which includes personal protection, property protection, and residual liability for a period of 6 months prior to the commencement of the application process. Applicants who fail to meet these criteria are penalized in the form of draconian premiums and unrealistic reinstatement fees. It is emphatically impractical for individuals who are incarcerated in the Department of Corrections or even in the municipal and county jails as pretrial detainees to maintain said insurance coverage. Surely this obligation cannot be an expectation of logical minds where the average net pay for the most popular prison jobs is about $1.13 a day, and that's as a housing unit porter, or perhaps $1.88 a day as a classified skilled worker in the kitchen, also known as the chow hall. It should be noted that 30% of that 6,000 prisoners who are released recidivate within 3 years. Some research indicates that transportation is a recurring theme in the recidivism rates of justice-involved citizens. In the mind of a justice-involved citizen, being required to obtain and then sustain employment as a condition of parole becomes a matter of freedom or being locked up again. Most will take whatever chances to avoid the latter. Senate Bill 282 would prohibit an automobile insurer from refusing to insure, refusing to continue to insure, limiting coverage available to, charging a reinstatement fee for, or increasing the premiums for automobile insurance for an individual who was an ineligible person solely because the individual failed to maintain insurance for a vehicle owned by the individual during the 6-month period preceding the application process. In addendum, said individual will be required to provide the insurer with a certified statement of his or her incarceration. I will now turn it over to Mr. Harani, who will give testimony to his lived experience. Afterwards, if this committee have any questions, we will do our best to give and inform answers.